Saturday top-up time. It's Randwick, it's Flemington, it's Hawkesbury. And at 14:50, they always run late at Hawkesbury. Say 14:52, we'll have some some clarity about our horse in Tolerant, who
what would you be disappointed if it missed a place?
God, yeah, because look, obviously the favourite is the blue colours, coming back off a long spell, but fresh and keen. The horse that started ran deep odds on in a very poor race on this track last start, Green Kudos, and got beaten by a 2-year-old before that. Looks
Vulnerable.
Very gettable. So yeah, and
you're not saying any further back than second, you'll be disappointed.
I think he's entitled to run second, but obviously we'll wait and see on that one. There'll be a bit of a crew up there. I imagine Nigel's there. Josie's going up there.
Is she really?
Gord's mum and dad will be up there. So, and others.
The funny thing is Nigel's there already.
Of course he is. Anyway, let's get a look at this Randwick card, which
one key scratching, nimbly.
One key scratching and nothing out of the fillies race.
And the 2-year-olds. Yeah. The little Canberra rabbit is coming to Sydney.
Yeah. The weather is pretty much as predicted. It's overcast, slightly overcast, not necessarily overcast, but cloud about, and wind from the south. Track is dry, and we'll have to wait and see how it plays. But race one, we kick off with a race where I'm warming to Andermatt here, I guess, with the scratching of Vowmaster, sort of taking that break away. When you consider that On the Lead was adjacent to Wild Ruler last time we saw Wild Ruler in Sydney, and On the Lead was nowhere near Andermatt first up, I'd have to say that it represents a form line that has got something to offer. Of course, the top three come out of that Coolmore race down the straight at Flemington, which September Run won, and she is 5-4 in the Newmarket today. So I shouldn't cast too many aspersions, but
is she 5-4 in the Newmarket?
Yeah, or close enough. Let's say
April Rain or whatever her name is.
September Run.
Oh, September Run. Same. To me, it's the same horse.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's last sighted when it ran 5th behind Dame Giselle in the Silver Shadow, and since then she's won 3 down the straight and run second in the Lightning. All right, you got anything to say here? Wild Ruler is 14,000.
Yeah, I just thought Wild Ruler was A, but really finishing all the tapes this morning and noticing Doubtland down the straight was up the inside that day too a little bit. Don't know. I couldn't possibly take $1.80. Don't know what to think of Andermatt, and I can see what you're saying with the On the Lead race, but On the Lead in that race and the fact that it ran second to Wild Rule that day. Oh, yeah, confused.
Yeah, well, we've got a primed, good minor group horse in number one. It's it's a tradesman at this level, and primed up J-Mac, but can the lightly race bottom thing run over it, or something else? All right, race 2. This is the race of the day for mine. Profiteer up against Stay Inside, and 2, 3, 4, and 7's a real wild card because we can't get a line on him to shake it up. So 6 and a bit traded on both of these horses, Profiteer and Stay Inside.
That's good money for this time of morning.
And they're pretty much holding their positions. But for 2 such dominant winners at Randwick last start, it's clearly a race that is on.
Yeah.
And then we've got the wild card Hawks horse that was all style and in a race of no substance on debut and resuming against them here. A little bit of money for the Blue Diamond horse Adamo, who I guess there might be some theory that it's
a pretty big run in the Blue Diamond, but we say it every year. Oh, this is a big run in the Blue Diamond. They come up here and get distanced.
It's just different, isn't it? It's very different.
5 on top for me, Mark. Pretty keen, actually.
All right, race 3 is the fillies version, and Pretty Woman has had fresh interest this morning on account of her coming here rather than staying at home for the Black Opal.
Yeah.
Still waiting for testimonial to firm. It trimmed up slightly, but nothing of note. The number one's on the blow, as forecast on the previous show yesterday. And yeah, it's a look at the other wild card, the first starter of Hawks, Gestad, and I noticed that Jeff said in his pedigree assessments, which go out to Goldies, exceptional type from the sales. So you'll be keen to get your eye on top of her.
Yeah, looks a good type in the trial too. Good style horse. It's a race up for grabs, honestly. The weakest race I've ever seen this time of year for a Group 2 2-year-old race. Awful. I don't like.
But I mean, yeah.
We all potted Swift Witness a bit, and I'm not very keen on the favourite at the moment. Pretty Woman, 1,000 to 1,200. Been on the bunny at home. Comes here. Cheer Alicia Collett all the time. Can't imagine it, but can't find the winner.
Yeah. It's well, it's one of those races. We'll look back on this field in 2 years' time and we'll go, who are these horses? The fourth is the staying race, and as forecast by you, Entente is going to Canberra on Monday for the Cup. And it's essentially a match race between Sacramento and Mount Popper. Mount Popper has more interest at this stage, 5,000 traded and mid-twos there. Yeah, what do you say now that we've had that clarity of the Entente coming up?
I think there's only the two winning hopes. So give me a prize for that. I think a 320 Sacramento's a bet, but got to hold off the power of Gord.
yeah, Gord. He's got his stable, and they generally look after him, don't they?
Oh, do they what?
It's just, us old hard heads that have just gone around and around forever looking for things wrong with horses, and he's just forever looking for things right with horses.
Yeah.
The fifth is, well, here we go. Nature Strip is at least on the blow. None of this $1.50 rubbish that was the corpse were plying through the week. But Written Beauty is into $4, Glenn. So she was $6 when we spoke about her on the show yesterday.
Yep.
And
she was the reason I thought this would nearly get to black odds on the show. Nature Strip.
Yeah, well, look, she's got a real lurker's quality about her, and set up nicely. And a good man wrote to me making the point that every race that Eduardo has been in of Nature Strip, when Nature Strip has had to encounter Eduardo, it's been yucky for him. So
great point.
That's the narrative that we're sort of flying with today. Interesting to see how Sprintex comes back, Glenn. He sort of had a bit of a horror last preparation, but he
is a top horse, Mark. I'd love to see him new and fresh. I could foresee having a decent bet on him at about $3 a place in this race.
There you go. They're paying 3 divvies. The sixth is the mare's race, and emanates out to black odds now after lurking around in the red category previously. Fiesta looks, well, there's no trade there. The trade is on the favourite there, 7 and a bit. A little bit of money for Gen Rules the overnight. It's the new girl versus the numbers, isn't it?
Yeah. The uni student against the old moles have been in the club for a while, but anyway.
Yeah, Fiesta finally cracked it for a win last preparation after just bumbling around for it was 18 months between wins. So she returns off a better preparation this time, and she is presenting as the second pick there. I thought that Seasons who's been a heartbreak horse, would run well, and that Zanaya, with the trial off the resuming run, was a place hope here.
Okay, great.
An old girlfriend of yours, Zanaya, Glenn. She seems to go at Randwick, not first up, obviously, but she didn't go first up.
Mind you, I must be a bit of a slut because I got quite a few of them in there.
All right, the feature, which is the Randwick Guineas, and North Pacific, as forecast by you, has trimmed up with fixed odds operators. 17,000 matched on the favourite here, a horse of great interest. You spoke at length about the fact that you felt he was suited by the cut out of the ground first up.
That was just from the work I do from the parade. He's a tidy horse. Don't get me wrong. He's a good style of animal, but he's just a small little fella. And the other day he did win Lotto because everything wasn't right, and he got through the conditions to win by a length off a PR. So now we come to a different track, a dry track. Everyone's got a bit close to him. I can't imagine why he's 230, but I still think he's got a chance. I'm not saying he can't win.
Yeah, dominant winner in the lead up. The SP is a bit of a trick, isn't it? So my go-to is the fact that SPs can be reversed, or finishing positions can be reversed based on SPs at the next starts. And how do you work that with horses that are either having their first run or where the market was perhaps not that intelligent about them last start? It's a conundrum that applies here. Peltzer is double figures there for a horse that's unbeaten at Randwick.
Well, at least that's easy because you just got to back it.
Yeah, it's actually hard. Well, I've marked.
I mean, you got to
$7.
Well, you got to get in depth. If it's like I was going to say, you got to get in depth with if it's like trading at 650 or something. I do, I don't. I. But when they're $11 or $12, beautiful. Put your money on it. Watch it go around. I'm surprised Mwanga is staying so solid.
Yeah, well, T Berry, although T Berry, I think a good man on Twitter wrote that T Berry may have been beaten on 15 of his last 18 favourites. So he sort of has to come off at some stage, doesn't he? He's been too high for too long. The 8th, that's hello. We've got a match race there. Peltzer versus Mwanga. There you go. That'll fit you in. We've just spoke about that.
Well, that's just a bet every day of the week. Peltzer against Mwanga.
$1 billion bet there. The
whack on the blow. Gosh, you got to watch the preview, guys.
Yeah, and look, I'm surprised that Masked Crusader hasn't trimmed up here. I know that he's coming from handicapped away for age, and he meets Victoria Stoneworth and blah blah blah. But given that Savitiano is a bit exposed at this level, it would seem that if you're going to be anti-bivouac, you'd have to go to Masked Crusader, wouldn't you?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Dreamforce, the tradesman, looks, I realise he's an 8-year-old. Is he 8 or 7? Pretty old.
He's lightly racer.
First up, it's funny, in the early days of the rant, Dreamforce was one of Gord's boyfriends. Still is a bit. I remember him just tearing some of that ginger hair out after him getting beaten from gate 1 at Newcastle on a Wednesday meeting there, a sort of city meeting at Newcastle, and he's been a tradesman at this level now for a while. I suppose we can delve into lots of these horses' histories and come up with those interesting sort of.
It's a real race, that race.
It is. I describe it as a very, very good group too. Bivouac, trying. I wonder what the plan is with Bivouac, because he's resumed in the Lightning and then he's disappeared off to an exhibition gallop and then straight into a 1300 here. Anyway, and carrying G-Boss, the good jockey we love to loathe.
It's the jockey we love to loathe. I like how every other rider rides this horse, but with us we say they're carrying G-Boss. I do like that.
There's another match race there. Masked Crusader Savitiano.
That's an easy bet to have, Masked Crusader.
And the nightcap, which Nimmerley is I'd say that's the surprise scratching of the last little while. I can't recall a scratching that I haven't been more surprised by.
It's taken out. I think it failed a fit test. It's had a little bump or something.
Okay, so it wasn't intentional.
No.
Yeah, she's ideal. An easing favourite in this race. The race shape looks a bit nasty for her, but she's come back well. And
there's a tip on this page straight away, Mark. Lalud's traded 5 times as much money as anything else.
Yeah, well, it's a horse of great focus here because she returned with a win. That's the,
She gets a PR.
I'm in for a good campaign here, and then she went back to a race where she overachieved a buggery, the 1300-metre sit and sprint subpoenaed race. So she's gone 14, 13, third up at 16, posse up, son or girl, and make the most of it. Come and get me.
Come and get me.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly Outback Diva stayed in this race.
Yeah, well, I suppose she would have had to go to 2,000, which is not a distance that she's yet accomplished yet. But
And I suppose with the scratching of the favourite, maybe they got wind of that too.
anyway, she's mare with a win and racing really well this campaign. You know, she's put in run after good run after good run.
I know they're like just. It's a good race, that race.
It's a betting race. It's a betting race. That's what it is. Let's just quickly look at I must say they call it Super Saturday down at Flemington, but it looks a disappointing program. I see Paul Ely's gone down there for the sires, 1,100 up to 1,400. Suppose he only had a short break and had a 1,200 meter run there earlier. The race that I spoke about earlier, there's 30,000 matched on September run there, and you can't get 6 to 4.
Wow.
But the second pick there, Glenn, What's That, who was behind her, astern of her in the Lightning and astern of her in the Coolmore. So it's the same form. Yeah.
Well, there's some big sprinting names there. Deary me. Wow.
Yeah, that's
I haven't done the race, but looking at that, I could back Imaging. Dear me, I could back Stand Out. Fucking hell.
I
was tipping Profit Sun the other week. It was like end up being $10. Here it is 90s.
Yeah, well, the Oakley Plate doesn't often feed this race. It's
what an awesome. I'm going to tip Imaging first look, Mark. Fresh as a daisy. Imaging. There you go.
All right, and a look at the ultimate numbers race. Wait till you see this. Hang on, I'm just trying to get it up. It's the Australian Cup.
Oh,
here we go. And what is favourite in the race? Well, 50 Stars, who has won this race previously. It's the good old Flemington battler that would prefer sting out of the track. Paradis is second pick there. I seem to recall not just recently that Paradis, Frosty Rocks was starting favourite against Paradis. Anyway, it's a bunch of numbers. It's the Group 1 Australian Cup.
I'll tip Shared Ambition 10 to 1. Barrier 2.
All right,
come back a better horse.
Let's look at the all the action from Randwick and 2 of the features from Flemington as previewed at the top of the show there. Intolerance making his debut at Hawkesbury today. So there'll be the cheer squad up there. And we'll be back on Monday to talk about everything that's happened, won't we? And if you're
we'll know the winners. Don't worry about that.
But you'll also get some very, very good information, particularly from Paul Daly, who's he'll have verified times to speak of, individual sectionals to really give some depth and colour to some of the stuff that we talk about on Monday's show. And you just need a silver subscription to get into that, to watch our 5 or our 4 paid for videos a week. Obviously, you're watching this because this is free to air. But Goldies get even that and much more. They get 2 sets from me. They get a double dose of Mounting Yard mail every week. They get gold pedigrees. They get hard copy. And really, if you haven't tried us, the first 2 weeks are free. You're mad not to.
Not to.
That's right. And I should mention also special guest on Monday, fingers crossed, Richard Friedman. So look out for that. Meanwhile, get to Randwick or Flemington or Hawkesbury or wherever you are, and get on the punt and rack up a win. See you Monday.
See you Monday.